Imagine the heart of Rome, the eternal city, under a starless night sky in the year 100 AD. Suddenly, the Forum erupts in blinding brilliance. Arcs of blue lightning crackle from towering obelisks, illuminating marble columns like veins of fire. Chariots thunder down the Via Appia, not pulled by horses, but propelled by humming coils of copper wire, sparks trailing like comet tails. Legionaries march in formation, their shields glowing with ethereal light, swords humming with a deadly charge that could fell an enemy from afar. Emperors in togas command storms from their thrones, fingers snapping to summon thunderbolts that shatter distant walls. This is no myth of Jupiter's wrath. This is power harnessed, raw and electric, rewriting the empire's destiny. But what if this wasn't fantasy? What if the Romans had unlocked electricity? Now, step back with me to the real Rome at its zenith, under emperors like Trajan in the early 2nd century. Picture an empire sprawling from the misty forests of Britannia to the sun-baked sands of Egypt, encompassing over 50 million souls across 3 continents. Culture thrived in grand amphitheaters where gladiators clashed for bloodthirsty crowds. Poets like Virgil immortalized heroes in epic verse, and philosophers debated the nature of the soul in shaded academies. Politically, it was a machine of iron discipline. The Senate, a facade of republican tradition, bowed to autocratic Caesars who wielded absolute power through legions of professional soldiers. Roads like veins connected the vast body politic, enabling trade in olive oil, wine, and slaves. Technology, ingenious, yet bound by muscle and mechanics, aqueducts, arched gravity defying miles to quench cities. Hypercausts warmed villas with underfloor heating, and siege engines hurled boulders with terrifying precision. But limitations loomed. Communication crawled at the speed of horseback couriers. Medicine relied on herbs and superstition, and warfare demanded endless manpower. The empire's glory masked cracks, barbarian pressures at the borders, economic strains from overexpansion, and a reliance on slave labor that stifled innovation. Rome was a colossus, but one teetering on the edge of what-ifs. Enter the twist that shatters history. Suppose, in the workshops of Alexandria or the forges of Pompeii, a Roman engineer, perhaps inspired by the Baghdad battery's ancient cousins, or tales of Miletus's early observations of static stumbles upon electricity centuries early. Maybe it's during experiments with amber and lodestones, or dissecting eels from the Nile that deliver shocking jolts. Imagine hero of Alexandria, the real inventor of steam engines and vending machines, scaling up his curiosities. He coils wire around iron, channels voltaic piles from lemon-like acids and metals, and suddenly the spark ignites. Not just a parlor trick, but harnessed power. The empire, ever pragmatic, seizes it. Emperors fund academies not for philosophy alone, but for lectrica, the godlike force that could elevate Rome to divinity. First, warfare transforms into something apocalyptic. Legions, already unstoppable, now wield arquebulistae, enhanced with electric coils, catapults launching charged projectiles that explode on impact like miniature thunderbolts, disintegrating barbarian shields in flashes of ozone-scented fury. Imagine the Battle of Teutoburg Forest revisited. Instead of ambush in misty woods, Roman cohorts deploy mobile generators, electrified fences springing up to trap Germanic tribes. soldiers in insulated armor channeling shocks through spears. Casualties plummet, conquests accelerate. Parthia falls not to arrows, but to electrified siege towers that scale walls while frying defenders. The empire swells, perhaps swallowing Persia, pushing into India, where electric wonders awe local kings into submission. But darkness creeps, slaves in mines extract copper at breakneck pace. Their chains now literal conductors for punitive shocks, breeding resentment that simmers like a storm cloud. Governance evolves into an illuminated autocracy. Picture the Senate House aglow with electric lamps. Debates extending into night under flickering bulbs that banish shadows, and with them, conspiracies. Emperors like Hadrian installed telegraph-like wires along roads. Messages zipping from frontier forts to the Palatine Hill in hours, not weeks. Rebellions, quashed before they ignite, as surveillance networks of charged listening devices eavesdrop on whispers. Yet, this power centralizes dangerously. One emperor, say Commodus reimagined as a techno-tyrant, could monitor the entire realm, his whims enforced by electric enforcers. Corruption festers in new ways, bribes for access to the grid, dividing society into the illuminated, elite, and the darkened masses. Architecture leaps into the sublime. The Colosseum, already a marvel, becomes a beacon. Electric floods, light nocturnal games, crowds roaring as gladiators duel amid pyrotechnic displays. Aqueducts integrate pumps, water surging uphill to reach new heights, enabling vertical cities with towering insulae lit from within like crystal palaces. Temples to Jupiter crackle with artificial lightning during rituals, priests harnessing coils to summon gods, blurring faith and science. Pantheon domes embed conductive mosaics, turning storms into energy harvests. But hubris builds mega-structures like electrified walls spanning continents, draining resources and ecosystems, foreshadowing environmental scars we know today. Medicine surges from barbarity to miracle. Galen, the famed physician, experiments with electric currents to stimulate nerves, reviving the near-dead or easing pains that once doomed legions. Imagine field hospitals where charged paddles restart hearts on battlefields, or therapies zap in tumors in imperial clinics. Plagues, contained by electrified quarantines, fences humming to isolate the sick. Life expectancy climbs, emperors live longer. Dynasties stabilize, but ethical abysses open. Eugenics via selective shocks, or mind-altering currents to pacify dissidents, echoing dystopian fears. Religion, appended in electric ecstasy. Jupiter, god of thunder, becomes synonymous with this new force. Temples evolve into power plants, Vestal virgins tending generators instead of flames. Christianity's rise, altered profoundly. Perhaps early Christians co-opt the tech, performing miracles, with hidden batteries accelerating conversions. Or Rome suppresses them with electrified inquisitions, delaying the faith's spread. Pagan gods gain new life through holographic illusions projected by arcs, making the divine tangible, staving off the empire's spiritual decline. Expansion explodes outward, with electric ships propelled by rudimentary motors. Navigating by charged compasses, Rome crosses oceans earlier. Imagine legions landing in the Americas by 300 AD. Clashing with Mayan warriors under skies lit by portable lamps. Trade routes electrify, Silk Road caravans pull electric carts, accelerating cultural fusion. But overreach beckons, endless wars drain the grid, blackouts breeding chaos, as dependent provinces revolt when the lights fail. Now, zoom out to the global ripples, where history unravels like a frayed scroll. The fall of Rome, delayed or averted, no dark ages instead. An early Renaissance fueled by electric forges, birthing machines centuries ahead. The Industrial Revolution ignites in antiquity, steam meets spark, birthing factories that churn out wonders. Population booming with better health and food preservation via refrigeration precursors. Empires rise differently. Byzantium thrives as an electric stronghold, repelling invaders with charged defenses. Islam's golden age fuses with Roman tech, perhaps sparking even greater innovations in algebra and optics under electrified lamps. The Mongol hordes, met with electric barriers across Eurasian steppes, fragmenting their conquests. Europe, unified longer under a supercharged Rome, might bypass feudal fragmentation, leaping straight to enlightened absolutism. Yet, shadows lengthen in this alternate tapestry. Environmental tolls mount, early rivers dammed for hydroelectric might, forests felled for wire and poles, air choked with early industrial smog. Social upheavals brew a techno-elite horde's knowledge, slaves and plebeians rising in electrified insurrections, wielding stolen tech against masters. Global conflicts escalate, electric navies clash in world-spanning wars, accelerating colonialism. The Americas, conquered sooner, indigenous civilizations hybridized or crushed under Roman-influenced empires, altering languages, genes and cultures irrevocably. Fast forward to our would-be modern world, no waiting until the 18th century for Volta or Faraday. Electricity is ancient heritage. Cities glow eternally, communication instantaneous via empire-wide networks presaging the internet. Science advances exponentially, perhaps space travel by the Renaissance, moons colonized under Roman eagles. But at what cost? A world more advanced, yet perhaps more divided, with inequalities etched in circuits. Or maybe utopia, abundant energy eradicates famine, powers healing machines, unites humanity under a perpetual pax electrica. In the end, this what-if whispers a profound truth. History hangs by threads as fragile as a copper wire. One spark, one discovery misplaced in time, and the world we know dissolves like mist at dawn. How many other realities danced on the edge of possibility, only to fade unspoken? Our timeline, for all its triumphs and tragedies, is but one path in an infinite labyrinth. What if? Indeed, what worlds might yet await, if we dare to imagine?